Right, so what we're going to look at here is reproduction in plants. Right, there's two types, this sexual reproduction and asexual. Right. Right, okay, what we'll do is we'll look at asexual reproduction first. Right, so what happens is there's a few ways that happens. You've got a parent plant. So for example, the ones that we see every day are strawberries. When this plant wants to reproduce, it sends out a runner. And then that starts growing into another plant. Now this in its own right is another plant. So if you cut this, this would continue to grow. Right, the other way that you'll get it is if you grow potato, and then what happens is from the potato that you've grown, you'll get other potatoes forming. So these are from runners, these are from tubers, and you can also get plants forming from bulbs. So from this initial bulb, another bulb is forming, and then you can split them up and grow another plant. So we can write this as bulbs. The third way that you'll see asexual reproduction is, just say for example you've got a plant. What you do is you take a cutting and if you plant it and encourage it to grow in certain mediums, that cutting will start growing roots and itself will become a separate plant. So these are made from cuttings. So the four ways: runners, tubers, potatoes, bulbs, flowers, and cuttings. You see a lot of this, especially with, again, flowers, or even spearmint, budna. Right, now let's move on to sexual reproduction. Reproduction. As with animals or humans, you have pollen, which is the male gamete, which is equivalent to a sperm cell, and then you've got the ova as the female gamete, which is equivalent to the egg. So what you have is the pollen, the male gamete should be transferred to the female gamete through a process called pollination. And then from there, once they fuse together, you end up with fertilization. Right, okay. So, okay. We're going to work on the next bit. Right, okay. So what you have, where does the pollen grow or is produced or made? Right. Right, there's a little table. Just gonna fill it in. Right, so there's the table. These are the four processes that we look at, and we compare sexual to asexual. This is where you have gametes. Gametes, that's the pollen and the ova. And this, you don't have any gametes. So, do we have gametes? Yes, we do. Do we have gametes? No, we don't. Does the process of fertilization occur? Yes. In here, no. Do you have genetic variation? Yes, you do. Does it have genetic variation? Nope. Is there an advantage in genetic variation? Yes, there is, because what happens if you've got a changing environment and a threat comes along, environment, because they're not all genetically the same, some of them will survive, whilst it's ideal in a very sterile, controlled, stable environment. But if something comes along, so for example, potato blight, and it could spread across all the crop because they're all genetically identical. And this monoculture doesn't help, where you've got the same crop across vast regions, so it'll destroy all the crop. So you need a stable environment, and it's better. A stable environment is better for asexual reproduction. Right, okay, let's move on. Right, we'll stop this here and we'll maybe look at the structure of a flower, or a wind pollinated and insect pollinated flowers.